right, guys, here I am, Sharon from School Corridor, and I'm really looking forward to having this discussion about teacher self-care. So today I asked Christo, my son, I don't know if you want to show his face, Christo. He says he's okay on the side. I asked him, listen, Chris, you're going to have to follow the thread, the conversation thread, because I may just get lost in this whole discussion. So it's quite exciting because today we're going to talk about teachers and how teachers need to look after themselves. And we're also going to explore what are the possible stresses that are, affecting our lives, because we play a very important role in society. Look, this world can't operate without teachers. We are the pot of gold. We are the ones that really help the society and the communities to grow. So if you're there, say hi to me, and then I know you're on. We had a choice between teacher self-care and the deputy principal post. And then most of those who responded said, we want to talk about teacher self-care. So today, that is our topic. I see Andre's here. Hi, Andre. Nice to have you back again. You weren't there last week, I think. Andre is our principal, one of the principals in the Lavendale area. So, Andre, I'm hoping that you'll share some of the experiences of Lavendale Hill, how you guys are coping. I remember when I worked in the Lavendale area, that time Ivan Noble was still the principal at your school. And then when I came there one day, I had about 3 bullet casings, and he showed me that is what the grade R's brought to his office. Just to, so of course you have the gang fights there and everything, and then the kids could actually pick those things up. So we want to talk about how do we look after ourselves? How do we care for ourselves? What is causing the stress and so on? So you must keep the conversation going today. I see Brent Jordan is also here. Hi, Brent. Nice to have you here again. We really love our community. Thanks for joining us. And Jackie says, hi, Sharon. Hi, Jackie. Let me just explain. And I'm sort of sidetracking here, but remember in the last FB Live, I said we want to try the interview style. Now, guys, I'm learning as much as you're learning about this platform. So I checked out a number of programs that I could use. So Jackie Carno was one of the senior members at Lavendale High School. She was going to be on because I wanted her also to speak about, how do the teachers in Lavendale cope? Lavendale Hill is one of the hot spots. It's the gangster area. I would say about 60% of the people are unemployed. So there are many socio-economic issues in the Lavendale area. And I thought it would be nice to have Jackie on. So, and Jackie, of course, agreed. Then I also asked Arthur Preston of Sweet Valley to join us, and I wanted him to give his take as a principal. And then I had another person, Michelle. Michelle is at Squeal, and she was also going to join us. But gosh, guys, it's a steep learning curve. I'll have to really study, and Chris, my son, is going to have to help me so that I can see how to use the program. And then I had to cancel that. And I said, please come onto the FB live stream so that you can still share your tips. So Walter's here as well. Hi, Walter. Lovely to have you back again. And then I see Brent says, a great topic. Yes, Brent, I'm expecting you to participate. This session is really a multi-chat. So the idea is for all of us to give, input. And I'd like people to actually see what are you doing to help yourself cope better as a teacher. And so the whole idea is just to share. Okay. I see Anthony Adams. Hi, Anthony. My goodness. Lovely to have you here. We'll see you next week. 3 days at Anthony's school. He gave his premises so that we could run some computer sessions with our admin staff. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for being here. Joy is here. Arthur is here in the house. Arthur, like I said, Arthur was going to be live on, but Arthur, you agreed. We're going to try and see if we can find a program so that we can bring you on live. And then Jason is here. Thank you, Jason. Yes, lovely to have you here. Listen, Jason, this session is being shaped by the people on the program, okay? So I'll just give a few pointers, but the idea is that you guys share and, tell us what you're doing at your schools. tell us what you're doing personally, tell us how what you're doing in your families to help you cope with this it's a very exciting, rewarding profession that we are in, but it's probably one of the most stressful jobs that people can be in. So the whole idea is for us to share, Jason. So I'm hoping to see some nice ideas coming through. Thank you, Cheryl. I see Cheryl is also in the house. And then let me just check. I think I greeted everybody. That's Chris. Chris is actually in the room here. Chris, don't you want to show your face quickly so they can see what I've given birth to? Come, show them. Okay, that's Chris. He's saying hi. That's my entrepreneur. So maybe let me just start the conversation. If we talk about teacher well-being, and it's becoming a hot topic across the world. Internationally, teachers are struggling. Teachers are highly stressed. So it's not just a South African problem. And more departments, education departments, more national governments are beginning to look at teachers because, look, we know teachers are our most valuable resource. And there are so many changes happening. Our societies are crumbling. Our parents are becoming distracted because of various things. They're not playing the role they used to play in the past. And so we don't have the support of the parents anymore. Our values are changing in society. Before, if I think of when I was a kid, now, look, that's like a couple of years ago. When I was a kid, we had, in the community, it was standard practice for everybody to be indoors by 6 or 7 o'clock. And so you knew all the children would go inside. But today we have our kids running around, we have our kids on the street, parents are absent, you have the grannies raising the kids. And so the kids are coming into the school with all those challenges, their personal family problems, all the the violence that they're experiencing in their communities. So there's just that breakdown in society. And so who has to deal with all of this? The teachers. Okay. So you have to teach, and you have to play the role of a social worker, role of a nurse, psychologist, lawyer. You have so many roles that you must fulfill. No wonder our teachers are stressed. Then, of course, look, our schools are becoming fuller nowadays. More children are in schools, and that's a good thing. We've got far more kids attending school, which wasn't the case pre-democracy. So now our schools are full. We can't, schools are not really, we're not really keeping up with building enough schools for our children. So the class sizes are increasing as well. So now you have the class sizes increasing, you have the breakdown in family structures, you have a different curriculum, all those things add up. So the teachers are under tremendous pressure. So the whole idea is, let's talk about it, okay? So while I'm waiting for the conversation to go, I don't see any comments. Cordelia, thank you for joining. Lovely to have you here. Enjoyed the day the other day at your school. Fantastic SMT. I just love that interaction and the way you guys, relate to each other. But just back to our topic. I want to just give a broad overview of that we just need to look at the context that we're operating in. So the stresses that we experience are really brought about by external factors as well. Like I said, the children's home environment, and they bring it into the school, right? Another factor that affects our stress levels, and this we just have to get real here, is the fact that our school cultures for teachers may not be healthy. We find that at some of the schools we have toxic environments. There's a breakdown in the relationships. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of tension. SMTs are not really giving guidance to the staff. The SMT is in the leading role. So the SMT is supposed to help create the kind of environment where teachers can flourish. So we find that many schools, our schools culture for, the cultural environment for the teachers is not really conducive. So you have the work environment, you have the external social environment that's affecting you. You have your personal environment, right? We also have families, we have friends, and we also pick up stresses there. And there's also conflict and tension. And then, of course, the other factors are personal stress, right? All about us. So those multiple influences on us is something that we have to, we have to be aware of that. It's not only about the school, it's about even the environment we come from. It's also about our own personal relationships. And then, of course, it's about us too. So we need to be fair and say that our stresses come from multiple sources, and therefore we have to be aware of that one, and then we have to find out, we have to look for ways on how we can manage those different stresses.
Yeah, Arthur Preston says schools need training.
My son is just interrupting the talk. He says, yeah, Arthur says, Arthur, did you hear? You're just an author now. Okay, what did Arthur say?
Schools need training and support in dealing with traumatized children.
Okay.
Teachers also then deal with secondary trauma as they work with these children and families.
Yes, is that from Arthur?
It's Arthur and then Jason.
Okay, Arthur, that's a point. I'm hoping some of our community members will pick up on that. That's true. We need training, so the education department has to pay attention to that. Listen to that, and of course, if the government also has to pay attention to that, social services will have to pay attention to that, health has to pay attention to that. And then you said Jason said something as well.
You asked a question, but you kind of answered it now. You said, can you discuss and talk the whole school management in teacher well-being? And then should we as P1 teachers expect to have management playing a more active role in teacher well-being?
Yeah, Jason, are you asking me to answer that question? Yes. Look, your question is about the role of management. Management must create a culture or a climate where teachers are respected, where teachers are affirmed, where teachers are acknowledged, and management must help to see that teachers are comfortable. So management does have a very important role. See, the challenge is the management members are human beings just like us. But if you choose a leadership role, you're going to need to, make sure that you have a higher resilience, that you understand the complexities of stress, that you are able to identify symptoms of stress, of your teachers, or you can ask the teachers to guide you. So the S&T does play a very important role. Your second part, Jason, is about do we expect, what is that? Should we as P1 teachers expect to have management playing a more active role? I think I answered that part of your question. The other important part is it's not only management's responsibility, it's really a community effort. It's a collective effort. It should be a collaborative approach to how do we deal with our situation at the school. But management must take a leading role. So we can't sit back, because then it means we're not taking responsibility for our own stress. We are then in victim role, victim mode. And we'll say, okay, I've got too much stress at the school and they're doing nothing about it. It's not that. It's, in fact, what is the school doing and what are you doing as well as a teacher? If you're a teacher, obviously you're part of a staff, so it's not about just you. If you want to be relational, then you'll consider your colleagues as well. In other words, whatever you're experiencing, your colleagues could be experiencing something similar. And how do you as a collective then deal with it? And how does management create the platform for that to happen? Okay, I hope that sort of answers. I'm going to check. Hi Tim, lovely to have you here as well. I see you've recovered quite well. I'm watching you there on Facebook. You're really a strong person. really speak to resilience. And then, of course, that's Charmaine Peterson. Thanks, Charmaine, for being here. Lovely. You guys must just pour some comments. And then, of course, Alison Davids is here. Thanks, Alison. I'm glad that you joined us as well. So I'm just checking. Chris will keep me posted. Hi, Christine, about what your comments are. So Jason, I hope that answers. You know, it's really, I don't think we must pretend that we have all the answers. You see, that's the other challenge, because we're all human beings. We all have flesh and blood. We all struggle. Some of us struggle more than others. And that is why we need to hold each other's hands. So now, especially during this time when things are so difficult at schools, it demands more of teachers to be moving closer to their colleagues. So you can't be a one-man band anymore, you know, because we all depend on each other. So we have to move together in concert so that we can help each other. And I think I did mention that management must play, management plays a critical role in setting that. So management, you see, the management of the schools, one, I hope this doesn't come across too crass, but the one point I want to make is, remember, we chose to be leaders, right? Like, I chose to be a leader. I chose to work at the education department. Nobody took my hand and made me write my CV and made me compete for the job. So I put up my hand and I said, I want to be a leader. So I have to then know that, as vulnerable as I am as a human being, I have to consider that there are people who are dependent on me to give some guidance, give some moral support, give some emotional support, point people in the right direction, and so forth. So your school management team should have a similar outlook. You know, it's not we all stress. No, you can't as management. You can say we all stress, but your very next question must be, so how do we try to change things? Okay. Yeah. You know, often we do these once-off initiatives, which I think are very good. You know, you must have the wellness days. You must have the health screenings. And while I'm on that point, here in the Western Cape, I'm not sure about the other education departments, and I'm not sure about other provinces, but here in the Western Cape, the Western Cape government provides an employee wellness program service. Okay, so I'm just going to give you the toll-free number. So if you don't have it, and you know, this, I don't know, somebody's going to have to help me here, because I'm always doing this, pretending that I'm so organized, and then in the meanwhile, I'm looking for my notes. But I'm going to give you the toll-free number. It's the employee wellness program. Let's just look there for me. You know, your mother's screwed up. So it's a toll-free number. It's offered by iCare. So it's a 24-hour service here in the Western Cape for all Western Cape employees. And it's confidential. So nobody needs to know you're making the phone call. You can phone all kinds of issues. They deal with a range of issues, and they are professional people that are being used, or that are employed by this organization called ICAS, right? So there are psychiatrists, there are psychologists, ICAS, yes, ICAS. There are psychologists, psychiatrists, physiotherapists, marriage counselors, counselors who deal with abuse and substance abuse. There are counselors that deal with HIV and AIDS. So if you're in the Western Cape, you can phone any time of the day, right? Now, I checked some of the stats there. I was reading some of the articles, and I saw one article that said, I can't remember who wrote the article, but the article said only about 400 teachers access that free service. Okay. Now, my question is, how many of us know about this free service that we can access? You know, when you're really feeling down and you can't speak to anybody, or you want to speak to somebody who doesn't, you know, you don't want to speak to somebody familiar because you don't really want to share that information, then ICAS is your perfect go-to organization. You know, And like I said, you'll get the counseling. I also checked while I was researching ICAS, I came across an app. I thought, this is smart. So I downloaded the app on my phone. There are two apps. The one is about, it's on the go, ICAS on the go. So look for that. Then download it on your phone so you can actually phone, you've got the app there, so you'll get direct contact there. And if you're a Western Cape government employee, it's for free. The other service that they offer, part of the employee wellness program, is that you can have 6 contact sessions on any issue. I think it's a sort of a maximum. You can have up to 6 face-to-face contact sessions with a specialist, a health specialist, a mental specialist. So I would suggest that you explore that option. 400, we have about, I think 30,000 teachers just in the Western Cape. That's not even the other government employees. So if only about 400 people are using the service, it's for free, then perhaps that is an option that you should look at. Let me just give you the number. It's 0800 111 011. I'm just going to repeat it. 0800 111 011. That's the employee wellness program number, the toll-free number, right? 24-hour counseling service on all the different issues. Okay, so where's the conversation now? Where are we now?
A lot of people are talking about personal strategies and stuff.
Okay, so can we move on to the personal strategies? Anthony Adams, can I just pick up on that one, Chris?
Anthony
Adams, private and public affirmation of teachers is important.
Oh, yeah.
Teachers should be affirmed in front of peers as well as learners and parents and WCD officials. Anthony, that is so true. That's the other problem we have here in South Africa. We criticize easily, but we don't like to give compliments. We don't like to affirm people. We don't like to acknowledge, because it's like all for one for all. Guys, that worked 2 years ago when we were in the struggle. It's like, unity and so on, all for one for all and so on. But we're in a different time now, and affirmation is critical. Why did you tell Anthony, you're doing a stunning job. I like what you're doing. I like the way you relate to the kids. You don't have to make it sound like Anthony's a saint. Anthony, I'm sort of just picking up on your point. You don't have to make it sound like he's a saint. No, you're going to affirm one aspect of the way Anthony deals with people. Or I like what you see. I like what you're doing. We need to affirm teachers. Now, let me just stay there for a moment. We've got the National Teachers Awards. Guys, I can't believe how we've got a handful of teachers that are affirmed. Now, everybody, when you go out there, everybody says, we've got the best teachers. You'll hear the principal saying, I've got the best staff. I've got amazing teachers. And then when we do the National Teachers Awards, we say, guys, here's a public platform. Let's affirm the teachers. Let us show them that we believe that they're offering the best, and we want to show the world we've got this prized human being helping the communities. So that's one of the platforms that we need to explore. Then, of course, during your assemblies, why only call the children up if they did well in the cricket match and swimming and all that stuff? Single out your teachers. Make an effort to let teachers feel good about themselves, because we need to know that we are being valued. We need to know that we are being, respected, and that people are benefiting from our inputs that we are making. Okay, and then I'm going to just check quickly. Nicole Lynn Frank says, hi, Ms. Lewin. I agree that training and development of teachers are essential when it comes to trauma. It becomes very difficult to manage the curriculum and the personal stresses of a child. Our role as an educator is just far beyond our job. This obviously affects the teachers as well. That's an amazing point, Nicole. You're right. that's something that I think the university should look at for the teacher training. How do you prepare the younger teachers? How do you prepare them for trauma? Because they are going to come into a volatile situation. So how do you expect a 22, 23-year-old to come in and deal with children who come from broken homes, who have, they have so many challenges, mental, physical, emotional challenges. So how do you expect that young person? So Nicole, that is something that I think the teacher training universities or colleges must look at that. I would agree with that.
Here's another suggestion.
Okay.
Arthur says regular personal notes of thanks and congratulations from the principal go a long way.
Yes, Arthur, thanks for that. So I take it, if you're on the live stream, that you will try these strategies that people are mentioning. So Arthur's suggesting that that you give notes, personal notes,
yeah.
Personalized notes. Lovely. Thank you, Arthur.
Michelle says there's a new teacher at our school who is always so pleased when she gets a compliment regarding her growth from her HOD. It seems to motivate her. Yes,
Michelle. So you and Arthur are speaking about verbalize, voice your praise when you are speaking to teachers. Don't just look for marks. Don't just look for who's late. What about the teacher that's regularly at school, who's always going with the children? What about them? And I think that is what Arthur and Michelle are talking about. And Nozuko, thanks for joining. Lovely to have you here as well. I see you've joined us. And then Tanya Rousseau, thanks for joining us, Tanya. Okay, so I'm sort of just watching to see. I'm just trying to fill the spaces here. Shelly, of course, always on. Thank you, Shelly. I have to meet you one day, really. So yes, just on the I spoke about the employee wellness program, and then I also tried to speak about that there are multiple factors that affect our well-being. So we have to look at what is happening at school. Usually, the school. Well, let me rephrase. In many cases, the school's environment can be so toxic that it adds to teacher stress, right? So teachers may have their own emotional issues because look, we're human beings, we have lives, so we have our own issues. Now you're really trying to deal with your own issues at home. Then when you come into the school environment, then you just get additional stresses over there. So it's important that we just manage all those stresses, okay? So we're waiting for you, Michelle. We've got you. Delisha also joined. Hi, Delisha. Come, keep the conversation going. Sunette, thanks for being here again. Lovely to have you here in the house. I'm checking to see. Shirley Eden Rouse says, thank you for tagging me. Come, keep the conversation going. I can just give some of the inputs. I try to look at what is happening in other countries. Let me just tell you guys, even if it's a first world country, they are experiencing the same things we are experiencing. It's not better. The grass is not green on the other side. In fact, people say it's greener because they have more sheep there. So life is just very difficult. So we're going to have to learn to manage that, So maybe you can give some ideas on, so what do you do as a teacher? How do you build your resilience? How do you make sure that you don't get knocked down by all these things? And then, of course, one of the regulars on the show, he's not on tonight, but Adrian, he's a teacher at Florida. He sent me a message and he says what he does is he prepares all his meals the night before because he doesn't want to stress the next day. He believes that when he gets up in the morning, he must pray, or he says pray, meditate. And Adrian says he always reads a sort of a motivational, inspirational quotation just to keep him energized. And then, of course, he says drink a lot of water as well. Something that we neglect. Do you know that water is important for your brain? That if we don't drink enough water, then we are not helping the brain to be lubricated, and then we become more tired and more stressed. So little things like that we need to do. You know, we drink the coffee and the tea and so forth, but we need to drink some water, like Adrian says as well. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, you got 2 there.
2.
So they're from Bern and then Farida.
Yes, I'm going to get you now, Chris. Arthur, the grass sometimes seems greener because of the extra manure on the other side. That's true. I think I just repeated the same thing. Farida, thanks for coming on. Lovely to have you here. Farida is the principal of Ocean View Elston. Another amazing hit. Farida says we have a wellness committee that organize activities for the staff. No meetings on Wednesday, so educators can catch a breath midweek. That's a lovely idea that I think teachers can use or principals can use. You know, why don't you have meetings every day? Block out some time. We actually won't fall apart. You know, we need to, and that's something the education department must also, I must also, take cognizance of that we shouldn't tie the teachers up in so many meetings and so many workshops, and we're just adding to the stress. And so teachers come there exhausted because they had their 40 to 50 children having to deal with a whole range of issues and teach. And then now they must come sit in the workshop. Then we are, in many cases, I think, you know, we can be so boring also. We just give information overload, and then the teachers are even more stressed. So we as officials must also do what you're saying, Farida. You know, we need to also begin to think beyond our own self-interest. And it's tough, even tough for me. But we need to remain conscious of that all the time. And then, Chris, you mentioned another one. Theola says, Sharon, when you're in a leadership and management position, it's very important that you have emotional intelligence and realize that you are dealing with people with real emotions and real lives. Yes, Theola, all the way from Yellowwood. Thanks for coming on board. You finally managed to join us this time around. That's true. You know, so we need to remember that. We need to remember that we're working with people with real emotions, with real fears, with real insecurities, with real challenges. You know, teachers are as vulnerable as the kids. So we need to start examining what our conversations are like in our staff meetings, in our, you know, whenever we meet. Is it just about the curriculum? Is it just about what papers must be in, you know? Or are we making time to get people to say what is going well at the school and what is not working so well at the school, you know, and then get the teachers to share that with you. I spoke with Vernon Irfit of Musenberg Tune, and he said to me, you know, Sharon, now Vernon's a very upright person, and he tells me, you know, I sort of tease him and say he's got a big private space. But he was telling me that he asked the teachers, he said, you know, I felt so vulnerable. I wanted to know by the teachers, what are we doing well? How can we, and what are we not doing so well? And how can we do things differently? What can we drop? What can we stop doing? And he said, you know what? I was so terrified, but after that meeting, there were so many constructive contributions where teachers spoke about just, you know, every time we try a new initiative, so we're just building the pile. Instead of saying we're going to try this, so if we're trying this, we must drop that. And Vernon says that is what the teachers were telling him. We're trying so many things and we're just adding. So perhaps we need to sit back and look and see what can we drop when we want to try a different initiative. And he said after that meeting, there were so many people who volunteered to run some of the initiatives, you know, and he said that fear that he had, and I think, Jason, I'm sort of speaking to your point here indirectly, those fears that they had prior to having that conversation, because he had to make himself vulnerable. He had to show people he's a human being, he's the leader of the school, he's the principal, but he had to tell them, listen, I'm apprehensive about what I'm going to do now, but I'm courageous enough because I care enough about you. So that is something we need to consider. Okay, Arthur speaking to the other. Thanks. I want that, yes. I want that kind of mixed conversation going on there. So self-care, yes, we need to look after ourselves, but we need to also consider, because we are teachers, it is critical that our work environment is conducive to high-performing teachers. You know, if a teacher is motivated, inspired, and energized, half your battle is won. Because a happy teacher, energized teacher, and a motivated teacher will help the children to be happy, energized, and motivated. It just has that knock-on effect, you know. But if you have a stressed teacher, then the stress teacher means that the teacher's morale will be low, the teacher's teaching will be affected, and the children's performance will also be affected, and their emotional well-being will be affected. So we must bear that in mind, that if we don't look after our teachers, we are going to affect the way the children are also going to perform. Okay. Yes. Anything else?
Nicole Frank says so she has a check-in system with the kids to feel where they're at. So different kids maybe feel differently on different days, and she said she feels like this could be brought into the work.
Sorry.
Into work in a briefing meeting. Try to check in with 1 or 2 teachers a day, and she said it's good to offload at times. Okay,
so we heard that was from Nicole. Mm-hmm. So Nicole, yes, those are nice ideas. I'm hoping that people will try that. Anything else? Arthur, I like that you're sharing. We need to say no to some good things. True, we do need to say. It's difficult. One of my practices nowadays is I say I want to stay in my lane. If I say I want to stay in my lane, I'm beginning to say no, because I overextend sometimes. I'm just giving a personal, my own personal messed up stuff sometimes. But I also tend to overextend. So I'm also beginning to say no. If you ask something, I'll say no. And so people are like, oh, why are you saying no? This is going to be so good. No, it's no because I can't fit it into my program. It's going to affect me. So yes, we have to say no. And it's like Arthur says, these will change over time. We absolutely need the courage to stop certain activities and practices in order to create a culture of teacher well-being. That's brave. That's courageous. So, apologies. So, are we going to try that? That Arthur just said now. That we're going to say, listen, let's look at what we have to offer and let's start cutting down. Let's stop this madness that we're getting up to here, because every time somebody comes with a new idea, we're just grabbing. So Arthur, I like that, that we need to start selecting, what's going to work for us and what's not going to work. Any other ideas? Krista, you're supposed to look there.
Opposite again, the elephant in the room is possibly the expectation of the curriculum and assessment.
The elephant in the room is the curriculum.
Possibly the expectations of the curriculum.
Oh, the expectations of the curriculum, yes. Thanks for joining us. For those of you joining, I'm getting so carried away here. Instead of greeting those who are just joining. Gina, lovely, thanks for joining us. We're talking about teacher self-care, but we're also saying teachers must look after themselves. Teachers have a responsibility to look after themselves. So we need to do physical stuff. We need to do mental stimulation. We need to inspire ourselves. We need to stay motivated. So we have a responsibility to look after ourselves as well. But we also are saying that teachers work in a context. So teachers work at the school, and that school will impact on how the teachers deal with the different challenges that they face all the time. So you can be a runner like some of our principals and teachers, they do marathons and so forth. You can do all that in your private life. But the minute you step out of that and you step into the school, and the school makes your blood pressure go sky high, guys, that's dangerous stuff. Then we have to look at what is happening at the school. And it's important that we balance and check that the school is a school where you can flourish, Yes. I don't want to share this with you. I was at a school today and I was like fascinated and, really chuffed. We do the bathroom I always do that when I get to the schools. Well, I need to go to the bathroom, but I'm just saying. So I went to the bathroom and gosh, I was at AZ Birmingham Primary. You must see the bathroom, guys. I've got a couple of pictures on my phone. I'm going to post it. But the bathrooms look exquisite. Okay, I was in the female's bathroom. I couldn't go into the male's bathroom. It was one of the male teachers. Can you just stand and take a picture? But just of the decor. I don't want anything else. But you know, that bathroom smacks of respect. It just tells you that the teachers are valued. Mirrors on the wall, lovely toilet roll holders, beautiful tiles, and the principal, I believe, also helped to make this tile, this inset of the little tiles and petals. And I told the staff, I said, you know what? If your pollution blocks your bathrooms for teachers, it's a clear sign of how much you respect your teachers for SMTs. Because if you and I mentioned that, I said, you know, the zinc and pink, because I go to some schools and they still have the zinc, those aluminium basins, and the normal pink hand wash that you buy in 5 liters. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, if you want your teachers to feel valued, look at the spaces that they are in and help them to be emotionally relaxed when they go into spaces like the staff room and the bathrooms and places where teachers congregate. You know, those are little things that we have to look at. Walter says, Crystal, are you getting tired?
No.
Walter says, at the end of a school day, spend at least 5 minutes quiet time. Close the classroom door and have a quiet time before rushing off home. It will help center yourself. Yes, that's a lovely, thank you, Walter. That's a lovely tip that people can explore. And then Michelle says, I've also started to say no. Yes, I think we raised that point. And then Arthur, an old boss of mine once told me that if you want to know an organization's how an organization values its people, go check the policy. I agree with you. Arthur, I just said that I agree with that. Because that is what I do. And I hope schools are not going to block me when I have to go to the bathrooms. But that for me is always a clear sign of, you know, I go to the staff room and often I'm in the staff room and then I just check what it looks like. And you can immediately say who's treating the teachers as if it's a factory. I know I use that all the time. I'm a factory worker's child. And we know about this whole, this whole mindset of still being in a factory. And I think it's true. If I look at some of the staff rooms look like, like just books there. The seating is not nice. There's no nice, comfortable stuff, coffee machine somewhere for the teachers in some of the staff rooms. Other staff rooms again, oh my word, I can spend a whole day there. So we have to look at the spaces that teachers occupy at the school, make that appealing, make it a symbol of acknowledgement, a symbol of respect, a symbol of caring, just as you would expect the children to be treated. Because your teachers, if we all resign tomorrow, the teachers, we're in big trouble. So, we can't have the teachers being off sick all the time. That's the research says. Because of the stress levels, the absenteeism is high. And so that is something that we need to look at. Okay. Anybody else? I never thought about the teacher space before. That is so true. Those small things will definitely add to the overall mood of the staff. Yes, Nicole, that is true. I'm not trying to suggest that we must just put in, symbols, but I'm saying if you look at the whole picture, then the whole picture will give you a final picture of caring, of love, and so forth. So we need to consider the teacher spaces that they are in. I think it's critical. I think it's something that is undervalued at this point. Many schools, it's really undervalued. The staff rooms, the teacher bathrooms,
those areas. The classroom as well.
Hi, Patrick. Wow, Crystal's reading out that. I get so excited when I see people as Florence and as Patrick and everybody. Oh, we're going to have a good party. We must all go on camp one day and we all have this live show. Okay, Jason, teachers need to, sorry, Chris, let me just read this quickly. Teachers need to create classroom spaces that energize and motivate themselves just as much as the children stepping into the space. I have my positive quotes up all over my classroom. Lovely, Jason. You must invite us one day to your school. That's wonderful. That speaks to us taking responsibility for our own well-being. You know, we can't depend on others all the time to see to us. We have to take responsibility. And then Bogan, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, Bogan Constable Johnson. Is it right? It is so difficult to say no at times. You don't want to step on toes. Been teaching for 4 years now, and I'm still finding my feet. And with leadership ambitions, you try to take on everything. Yes, I may be mispronouncing your name, Bogan or Bojan. Thanks for coming on. I think you're pretty new to the live stream, but I like your point, you know, especially our new teachers. We try to, you know, we're trying to please everybody. The new teachers, shame. I feel sorry for new teachers because you're trying to please everybody. You're trying to make sure that people can see that you want to be helpful, that you want to grow. And sometimes, like you say there, then you overextend. But I think as a young teacher, version, yeah, you can correct me at some point. Just be careful that you don't burn out because you're trying to show everybody that you can do things, right? Always remember you first and then the next person. You know, there's that saying that if you fly in an aeroplane, if you fly in a plane, if you go on a flight, the hostess will always give you that whole rigmarole about safety precautions and what you have to do should the plane get into some kind of trouble. And you will always be told you put on your own oxygen mask first before you help anybody else. And I think that is the kind of analogy that we can use for ourselves. We must first fill ourselves. You know, this whole idea of we must just reach out to help other people without looking after ourselves, it's a very dangerous concept, and we've all bought into that. We must first see to ourselves, because if we are energized, motivated, focused, full of life, helpful, all those things, then we can give more. But if I'm burnt out and exhausted, what can I offer you? You know, so we must first fill ourselves before we fill other people. And that's something I had to teach myself. I had to really learn that, because, yeah, like I said, I'm one of those people who sort of, like, you know, overextend. And there was a point in my life when I had to ask myself, and yeah, it sounds like confession time tonight, but I had to ask myself, is it my ego speaking? Or is it, do I really want to help the people? Is it, am I stroking my ego? That was a hard question. But I had to ask myself, am I doing this because, you know, am I sitting up till 2, 3 o'clock at night because that's the only way that I'm going to get the information out to my colleagues? Or am I trying to say that I'm working so hard and tomorrow when I come to work, I went to bed at 3 o'clock this morning because I was sitting up and drafting that mail or getting this template organized, you know? And the hard thing was to say, maybe it's your ego overplaying here, Sharon. You know, why do you have to sit up late at night? And why do you have to advertise it? Why do you have to tell people that you're sitting up till 3 o'clock? You chose to sit up till 3 o'clock at night. So why must people feel sorry for you? Look at your time management. So things that I personally had to learn as well. So now I go to bed pretty early, unless I'm reading, okay? But not sitting up and doing emails till 3, 4 o'clock. That was one of my flaws before, that I had to deal with. So if we want to teach self-care, we have to look at ourselves and say, you know, how well do you know yourself? Can you look yourself at yourself in the mirror and ask those hard questions? Who am I? What do I want? What's my role? What's my purpose here on earth? Who do I want to serve? And how do I be served? And then, and if I want to serve, how must I look after myself so that I am able to serve? And that, you know, that's the kind of self-care we're talking about. And then, of course, we have to look at the environments and see, wow, the environments are handicapping us. Okay? Yes. Anything else? Let me see if I can pick up. I hope you're enjoying it. Just send me a comment. Is the conversation drying up? Or how are we doing in terms of the conversation? Are we busy? Are we ready to wrap up? Farida says, have a soup and bread day. That's nice. Guys, I hope you're going to try that soup and bread day. Yes. Michelle says sometimes teachers do not see each other through the week, especially if it's a big staff. I enjoy our occasional Friday afternoons when everyone gets together in the staff room and have eats. Okay, and then Michelle gives us quite a bit of detail. So that's another nice tip, Michelle, that if you find that you're beginning to drift away from each other as a staff, and you're only seeing each other during staff meetings and grade meetings and phase meetings and subject meetings and IQMS meetings, then perhaps you should, start prioritizing. Put teacher well-being as one of the agenda items. That's a tip that I'd like to share with you. Put it on the agenda. Teacher well-being as one of the agenda points, so it becomes a priority and not an add-on. See, that is what the research is saying, that teacher well-being is, we've been treating it like an add-on instead of seeing it as part of the integrated, integrating it into our normal work, and not as an add-on and say, okay, look, teachers are stressed, let's start playing football, let's take teachers out for a braai. No. Put it in there so that you can regularly tune into teachers, find out how you're doing, what can we do differently, and so forth. Okay.
Tanya has a question for you.
Tanya has a long thing.
It's a question, but it's just like 2 parts.
Hi, Tanya. I don't think I said hi to you. Hello, Tanya. So, Shani, do you think there's a responsibility for an SGP to participate in creating a conducive environment for teachers where management is a challenge? And if so, how would you best approach it in the manner that doesn't infringe on management's responsibility? From a parent's point of view, it is our best interest to ensure our children. Okay, Arthur, I'm going to ask you and Anthony, if Anthony's still around, and Farida, all the principals here, all the main guys, the heads, the community leaders. Can you guys just help me answer Tanya's question around SGPs? I have an opinion here, but I'm just going to wait for a minute or so. Arthur, I hope you're still around. Farida, Jackie, all the school leaders, Sanette, I'm calling on you guys. Hi, Shamuda. Even my ex-students are on the live show. Chuffed I am. Okay. Right. So, Theola says I'm doing very well. Thank you, Theola. You like my permanent cheerleader. Thanks so much for that. Arthur says, nice sharing teacher well-being on the agenda. Great point. Yes. Arthur, just pick up on that point, but Tanya, if you can. Tanya's asking, is there a place for the HGB to also help with teacher well-being? I just want to hear what our heads have to say about that. Patrick, I don't know. Patrick, do you want to give us, because you used to be a school leader before you moved to UCD, do you have any ideas about, the HGB, how can they help without encroaching on management stuff? You see, that's the difference. Governance for governing body for governance, professional management for principals and SMT. So without encroaching on each other's space, how would we respond to Tanya's point? Okay. Yes. Right. I think I've sort of, that's why I wanted people on the, in the room with me, so that when I talk, and then I could have pulled in Jackie and Arthur and Michelle, but unfortunately we couldn't do that. Okay, let's see. Jackie says certainly parents can make a contribution. It will support teachers and teach the kids, and teach the kids. The kids may pick up on parents' concern for parents. For the parents' concern for teachers, I take it, Jackie, that is what you meant there. Yes, that's quite an interesting point, eh? So that's in the response to the SGB, yes. So the SGB can work on, Tanya, I'm just trying to get my other colleagues to comment here. But I like Jackie's point, because if we are saying part of teacher stress is that teachers are undervalued, part of teacher stress is that teachers are underappreciated, and that teachers don't have don't enjoy the credibility in the community anymore, then Jackie's point makes a lot of sense, that if we can get the SGB to help work on how do we build the teachers' image in the community, how do we affirm teachers and acknowledge teachers and show how we value teachers by having different initiatives, then Jackie, I would say that that's quite something that's quite interesting. I think that schools can explore. So Tanya, that is sort of in part a response to your question, your point. Farida says provide funding in the budget for teacher wellness. Yes, so that, Tanya, there's another suggestion that the budget actually has a budgetary item called teacher wellbeing. You see, if we want to prioritize teacher well-being, and if we want to say teacher self-care, teacher care is important, teacher wellness is important, then I would agree with what Farida is saying, that you actually have a budgetary item on under, if you look, professional development will be part of your budget, but under that you will also put the teacher well-being so that you spotlight it. And in that way, you'll be, in a way, forced, to start paying attention to it. Because if it's out of mind, it's out of sight, out of mind. So I'd agree with that. And then Arthur says the SGB can encourage the parents to support the teachers, but management thereof should be the domain of the school-based management. I like the point that you underscored there, Arthur. Yeah. So the SGB must look at ways without starting to manage teachers. That's not your domain if you're a governor. Your domain is to make sure that the governance of the school is in order and that you're creating the environment for the teachers to flourish. Anything to do with professional management is really the domain of the principal. Okay. Pamela says, hi, Pamela, you just joined and we're talking about teacher wellness, teacher well-being, teacher self-care. And you say, just joined, lovely topic. Thanks for coming on board. We're trying to get the conversation going in the chat.
Jason has a question.
Jason, you have a question. Jason, you're very active tonight. We love it. We love it. We want to keep the conversation going. What does Jason say?
Should learners also assist in teacher well-being? Can school RCL take lead in this?
That's an interesting point, Jason. Why not? So that would be, so the teacher liaison officer will have to help to activate that. I think that's important. You see, if we are saying part of the armor that we want to give teachers to manage this stress is that they must see to they must take responsibility for their own health and their mental state and so forth. But we must also to make sure that the environment is conducive. And if you look at the different structures, then we are saying the principal and the SNT have a role to play, like we mentioned to you, when we responded to your earlier question. The SGB, as Arthur and Tanya and Jackie, everybody there, Farida also mentioned, SGB can also play a role by making sure that they prioritize acknowledging teachers, valuing teachers, and the point that you're making now about the RCL, that would also be another structure. How do you activate the RCL to also prioritize teacher affirmation, teacher appreciation? I think that's important. I like where this conversation is going, Chris, because it's about bringing in all the different structures. It's a holistic approach. You're looking at different structures and how the different structures can help us to create an environment where teachers are looked after, where teachers are really respected and appreciated and affirmed. Okay.
Megan says, shared responsibility amongst all stakeholders.
Who are the stakeholders?
She's talking about management should involve teachers and parents on all major decisions. Stop excluding us and involve us. We are willing but not considered.
Okay. Who made that point?
This is Megan.
Megan, thanks. I don't think I agreed with you, but Megan, thanks for that point. Yes, stop. I like that. Stop ignoring people who can add value and help you shape how you're looking after teachers. In other words, give everybody a voice. You see, that's another stress factor. Are we micromanaging teachers at school? Are we allowing teachers to be autonomous? Are we allowing teachers to be independent? Are we allowing teachers to have a voice? In other words, are we considering their contributions? Or are we rank obsessed? Are we doing the top down? You can't say anything because you're post level 1. You can't say anything because you're a new teacher. 2 years, 3 years, wait till you teach 10 years. Are we micromanaging? Are we being bureaucratic? Are we being autocratic at the school? Because those are possible stresses. So we have to look at, whose voices do we value in the space? And do we give them equal value, whether you're a new teacher, whether you're a more experienced teacher? And listen to it like who's our colleague just asked now, said, stop ignoring us. It's really it, sometimes we make people invisible. They don't even see you. Never mind, don't greet you. I'm talking about you in the space, but if you raise your hand or you have something to say, it's like, what do you know? That's part of the stress that teachers experience. So we have to look at our behaviors and who we value in terms of their opinions. Or do we value everybody's opinion? Are we bold enough, vulnerable enough, like I said about Vernon, to be courageous and say, I know I'm nervous about asking teachers to do this, or I'm nervous about doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. That is resilience. Do you know that resilience is really the flip side of being courageous? It's really being vulnerable, but taking the bold steps. So as leaders of a school, are you going to be bold enough after this conversation to take those steps? I know you're going to try the ideas that our colleagues gave us here. Okay, we're going to spend about another 2 minutes and then I think I'll wrap up. Pamela, yes, I said hi to you. Linda, thanks. Yes, Linda's talking to Arthur. Good. Arthur, you're generating a lot of discussion. Megan, we spoke to you. Tanya, Walter, wonderful program, sharing excellent interaction with participants. Thank you, Walter. That was the whole idea, Walter. That is why Arthur had to be on here, and Michelle and Jackie. How disappointed I was last night when I couldn't get it right. But I'm going to try again so that we can have a live interview. Imagine this. We're all sitting in our own homes and we're having this chat about how much we should care about you, the teachers. You are the main guys. Like I said, you're the pot of gold. And so the whole discussion is just about teacher self-care and teacher well-being. Sasha Lee, my daughter is on. Guys, you've just invited my daughter here as well. She says, what about support and mentoring? Teachers meet up with each other to share stories and solutions. Thank you, Sasha.
She sucks.
Crystal says she sucks. Thank you for that. Meetups. Isn't that nice? Yes, coffee breaks. How about meeting with different staffs? Wow. We literally put fences around our schools. Why? Be bold as the heads. Be bold and invite your neighboring school to come have coffee with your teachers and just share. And it doesn't have to be about the curriculum. Goodness me. Curriculum is very important, but if you want to just value teachers, think up innovative ways of getting teachers to mix and share. Farida says involve the NGOs, Nicole, Lynn, Frank. Thank you, Nicole. And Mary Lucas also joined. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us. Sharon, you are the pot of gold. Okay, I've just got a pot of gold today from this. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, thanks so much for that. Okay, so if you are not, I think we're going to wrap up. Others are going to drag it up. But like I mentioned earlier, before we just wrap up the points, is one about the interview style. Really, I'm really dying to have that interview style. And I found 2 programs. Chris must just help me. Chris is he designed my logo for my channel, and he's the one who's sort of like at the back end, but I got him in today because I said, Chris, I'm going to struggle with the comments today because I wanted the chat to be 2 ways, right? Not only me coming up and acting like the expert, but actually listening to the voices on the chat. So we are going to do that. I'm definitely going to get those guys in that I wanted in the room. And then just, if I must just summarize what we spoke about, one is teachers need to be valued. You need to show you care, and you need to demonstrate that you care. And when we say demonstrate, in other words, you look at the environment that you're creating at your school, the cultures that you have at your school, look at the physical spaces you have, look at the resources you're providing for teachers, look at, check how whether you are listening intently to teachers, whether you're allowing their voices, whether you have that democracy going at the school, right? Or so that teachers are not invisible. Check to see, like you guys mentioned here about the stakeholders. How can you get the SGB to to help with building the image or boosting the image of teachers. Not artificially. We're not saying that we're all marvelous and we're all saints. No, we are saying how can the SGB help to sort of advance the image of teachers, because the image of teachers has taken a serious knock over the years. People treat teachers really with disrespect. We don't value the people who are really the community builders. So that's how do we get the stakeholders involved? Stakeholders like the SGB, like your RCL. If you're a high school, then how do you get the RCL involved? If you're an SMT, how are you prioritizing teacher well-being at your school? Besides looking at your culture at the school, looking at your environment, also, how are you helping teachers deal with their own stresses? Okay. Another point that I think that's important, I think I might be getting lost in the points, but the structural influences. Then also the education department. Now, fortunately, the Western Cape government I mentioned has a 24-hour toll-free service for all government employees, including teachers. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that number because for those of you who joined later, it's 0800 111 011. 0800 111 011. And I mentioned at the beginning that the services include a range of issues to deal with a range of issues, like ranging from just personal issues like relationships, to abuse, to HIV/AIDS, right up to organizational stresses. So if you're having challenges at work, then you may speak to a counselor, and those people are all, like I said, qualified professionals. So I think it's, if nothing else, then do that, share that number with your staff, chat about it. There's an app, like I said, I just downloaded that app this evening. Download the app, tell the teachers about the app, put the number up there. Nobody needs to know who's accessing the service, and it's 24 hours. So that would also help teachers. Okay. And then anything else? Did I miss out on something, Chris? No. Yeah. And then I just want to say, in closing, I think you were bold enough to tell us to tackle this issue. I think we've got a lovely, a lot of strategies that people added, that people shared with us. Really enjoyed it. I love the way you're willing to give your time and just share with us and have fun. Adri, hi, Adri, I'm glad you joined. And then of course, Chris, my assistant for the night. Okay, he's in that role tonight. He just sent a nice. He says he's an HOD. He's just sent a lovely message there from School Corridor. So thanks for all that information, and I hope that you've taken some key points and you're going to try some of those things. Thanks to all of you. I think School Corridor is really just growing because you're investing in this platform. And so I'm really just humbled by the way we want to reach out and spend time with each other. So continue flying along those corridors, continue creating magic, and just have fun in all the spaces that you are in, and look after yourself because we cannot replace you. So on that note, Chris and I will say cheerio. Bye-bye.